This is my story, how I went from $600 to $300,000 from a simple side hustle I started at 15. Still not a millionaire, but definitely on my way up. My name is Hudson Archer, and welcome to the video. You're probably here because you want to make money, and probably because I did a pretty good job making the title and thumbnail of this video, so you clicked on it. But anyways, I'm gonna give you a full rundown of how I started a simple in-person side hustle as a business a couple of years ago, and how that's brought me to where I am today and completely changed my life, allowing me to make several $100,000s per year. And you might not know who I am yet. That's because I plan for this video to go viral, because it's going to bring me into the next part of my journey, which I'll share with you soon. Now, I don't have the poor background that a lot of people might have that can tell a story of how they went from zero to literally not being able to afford food to the top of society. In full transparency, I did grow up middle class. I don't remember when my dad made less than 6 figures per year, but we did have some serious debt that came on early on in my life because of some serious health issues that my mom had that weren't covered by insurance. So there was a period of time where we had to sell our house, downsize, sell all of our furniture, and there was like 6 months where all we had in the living room was lawn chairs that we bought at Walmart to watch TV in the living room as a family. But we always bounced back quite quickly, even though we had things like that that did seriously impact me. But fast forward to today, I bought a pretty cool car at 17, was able to drop out of college because of some of the businesses that I was able to start. And I now have a mobile detailing business that produces about $25,000 per month. And some of that income is semi-passive because I've got some employees that help me run it. And we are continuing to grow that business. I'm able to take cool trips a couple times per year, meet some really awesome people and be mentored by multi-millionaires that I really, really look up to and respect. And I'm able to continue growing my business online as well. I've got some online money that I'm able to make from the detailing business, selling products, that sort of thing, and doing affiliate marketing. So let's deep dive into how this story began. So growing up, I always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I can tie that back since when I was like 8 years old. My dad was always encouraging me to try new things, and I really appreciate my parents' willingness to really push me to try whatever I wanted to try. And there was a period of time in 4th grade when I made my own trading card game. Like Pokemon cards were going super wild at the time, and kids were trading and collecting and selling them. And I thought it would be cool to hand draw my own superhero cards, like Lego characters, that sort of thing. And I sold them. So in 4th grade, I made a couple $100s over the span of a few months, which I thought was super, super cool. It taught me the basics of business because I had to pay for the paper, I had to pay for the art supplies, I had to pay to get them laminated, to make them look official, you know, to what my 8-year-old self thought. So I always had that background in entrepreneurship, and it always fascinated me. And then one day the teachers shut it down because they thought, hey, this kid probably shouldn't be making money off of kids, because kids were literally sneaking money from their parents' wallets to buy my trading card game at the time. But beyond that, I always had a fairly intense personality. Anytime I would pick up a new hobby, whether it was trying to start this little business in school or maybe getting into fitness, which happened during middle school, I always would go all in. And I would say that that is a trait that I've seen in everyone that has some level of success, is anything that they pick up, they deep dive into and they make it their whole personality. And that was definitely the case with me. You can see this is some pictures from like a 1.5, 2 year period where I got super into fitness. I was doing calisthenics. I was able to learn some like cool gymnastic skills at the time because I just went all in. And I remember kids at school always asking me, hey, can you give me some workout tips? Like I was in 7th grade, but I always carried that persona that people respected and wanted to ask advice for. And I always loved teaching what I had learned. Now, along with that intense personality did come a lot of problems growing up as well. There were times when I would get in trouble with the teachers for debating politics with the staff and the people at school. I made a girl cry once for a political debate that we had. I still remember that to this day quite vividly. But come the summer when I was 15, all of my friends started to get jobs at school. They were getting part-time jobs, maybe making $12 an hour. Some of them were lucky. I had a friend that was making $15 an hour at Chick-fil-A. So I started to get that exposure to other people having money and having the freedom to buy what they wanted. And I knew that that wasn't the best way to do it because I saw my friends giving up the majority of their summer for $15 an hour. They'd make a couple $100s a week. They'd get to spend money on whatever they wanted, but at the same time, they had to work nonstop to get that money. So I went online, I did a quick Google search, how to make money in high school with a side hustle, and mobile detailing popped up. It was a $500 budget to start, get all the basic supplies that you needed, and then you were off to the races. You were able to offer car cleaning services to friends and family and charge a couple $100s per detail. So I started doing that, and gosh, if only I had known where that was going to lead me, because it took off. Now, it didn't take off that quickly. It took me a solid 6 months to really get the ball going. And initially it was just a basic side hustle. That's really all it was. And I was just watching YouTube videos, learning about the detailing process and offering those services. And then a relationship that I was in got cut off. I stopped talking to this girl. Her dad split us up. At the time, I was 15, she was 16. Long story short, I had a lot of free time all of a sudden. What was taking up all of my mental energy was now completely gone. And I had this business that was making like $1,000 a month. I only had to work maybe 5 hours a week to make that money, which was something I was super proud of and excited about at 15. But then that's when all the online influencers started blowing up. I found Andrew Tate, I found Iman Gadzhi, I found Luke Belmar, all these guys in the space that talk about making money online. And I knew that I already had some initial success with the detailing business, and I didn't really want to have to learn a new business model all over again, but I resonated with the principles of entrepreneurship that these guys were teaching. And I saw the glamorous lifestyle of driving the crazy cars, getting to go on the crazy trips. I saw that as inspiring. So I decided to take what I already had, which was a basic, simple in-person business, and see if I could grow it. And then there was one moment that I remember that changed the course of that business forever. Making $1,000 a month, I got sick one day. For about a week or so, I was in bed and I was watching a show called Undercover Billionaire. In the show, there were multiple different billionaires, including Grant Cardone, who you probably know of, that had a challenge in 90 days to go from zero in a new town with a fake name to making $1 million business in that 90-day period. And there was one lesson that I took away from that show that changed the game, and that came from Grant Cardone. He said that if you don't have money to invest in something early on, but you know it's going to move the needle forward, why don't you figure out how to provide mutual value to somebody that's able to offer those services so you can grow your business without having any capital to front? So I had heard that SEO and digital marketing was going to move my detailing business forward. So I reached out to a family friend that I knew that offered digital marketing services. And I said, look, I've got like $500. I know you charge $2,000 to set up the website, do all of the digital marketing. I don't have that money, but what I can do is if you think it's a good idea, set everything up for me, start getting me customers, and I'll give you 10% of every single job that I take on for like the next 6 months. And they agreed. They saw potential in me. They thought it was a good idea. I'm super grateful for that because over the next couple months, they helped my business grow from no customers to getting like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 worth of customers every single month. And that's what taught me how to manage my time, how to manage cash flow, how to be profitable. All of these things built together to create the fundamentals for the business that I now have today. And I remember my first taste of success. At $5,000 a month, I was working maybe 20 hours a week. So I still had loads of time on my hands, and I was watching Iman Gadzhi buy all these fancy watches. And I thought, I need to buy a watch. And I'll put a picture up on screen, but I remember going out to a shopping center with some of my friends. It was cold, it was in January, and we're walking around, and I'm like, guys, we have to stop in the watch store. And they thought I was crazy. They were all working jobs at like Chick-fil-A. One of them worked at a cookie shop. I was like, guys, I need to get a nice watch. And of course, I didn't blow thousands of dollars on a watch. I think I only had like $6,000 in my bank account at the time, but I spent $300 on a little silver and blue watch, and that thing was my prized possession for months. I wore it everywhere. I was so proud of my success there. I hadn't bought a car. That was the first nice thing that I had bought myself. So that was my first taste of money. And then a couple months later, literally 2 months later, not even 60 days after that point, I bought my first company van. So with mobile detailers, the big flex is to have a little van. It's a Ford Transit Connect where you can build it out, and in the back, you can have all your hose reels. You pull up to the customer's house. You've got a van fully wrapped with your advertising, and you have all your chemicals, all your supplies. You pull it out the back of the van and you get to work. That's the big flex that everybody wants to achieve in this industry. So in March of 2023, I bought my first van for $15,000. I saved up cash, bought it in cash, was so proud, got it built out, spent an extra like $10,000 on the wrap and on the setup and everything. But that was when I started making $10,000 a month. That March was $11,400 and some change. And that's when I really saw how far I could take it. Because once again, that wasn't even working full time. That was maybe 30 hours a week at that point. So a couple months later, I continued growing the business, saw numbers coming in, $10,000 a month, $12,000 a month. And I knew that the next step was naturally to hire. So I went ahead and hired my first round of employees. I quickly grew to 2 vans. That September, so not even 9 months later, I bought the second mobile detailing van and I had 3 employees. We were doing about $25,000 a month at the time. And then I hit a major low point in my business where it almost completely failed. I was 16 at the time and I didn't really know how to manage people. I didn't know how to motivate people, and I cared more about profits than I did about my team. So all 3 of my employees that I had at the time quit out from under me within about a month of each other. And it was devastating to me because now here I was, a solo mobile detailer that had built up this massive client list of people that needed my services, and I had no way to supply. I was absolutely absolutely crushed. There's nothing that I could do. So I reached out to another local detailer and we started a conversation about merging our businesses together. And we were going to, until he told me, look, if you don't delete the YouTube videos that you're posting right now and delete your channel, I'm not going to be able to partner with you and help you grow your business. And at the time, I was only like 3 months into making content online, but I just loved sharing what I was learning about the detailing business. I loved sharing my success, and I didn't get too many views, maybe 10,000 views here. I think the most views I had on a video at the time was like 15,000 views, but it was really cool seeing people in the comments telling me, hey, this video really helped me out. I'm excited to start my detailing business now because of what you shared. And he was telling me that that was going to help create competition and we wouldn't be able to grow effectively because we were going to be creating our own competitors. So I ended up taking about a week or so to think about that decision before we signed on. And I came to him one day after I had already moved all of my supplies and my mobile detailing vans over to his facility. And I told him, I said, look, I'm going to have to do what I feel in my heart is right. I'm going to have to continue posting content. I'm really passionate about that. So I don't think the partnership's going to work out. And it completely crushed him. It set him off. I had never had somebody yell at me quite like that before. And it was actually so bad that his family members literally left his house and drove away while we were having that conversation because he was just being so loud and it was not a good time. So I had to pack up all of my things that I had brought over to his house a couple days prior to set up in his garage. All of the detailing supplies, I had to pack all of that up while we were in the middle of a really heated argument. And then he offered to buy my business for like 100 grand, which was pennies for what something like that is actually worth. But I almost accepted it because I was just so overwhelmed. I had no idea what to do, but thank God I declined that offer. And that is where we come to today. I met my current mentor shortly after all of that happened, and he advised that, hey, in the wake of all this, actually make more content because now that you're at a low point, you're able to really share your authentic journey and tell people what it's actually like running a detailing business, because now you can share what it's like being at the bottom, what it's like having all of those stresses. So yes, the detailing business went from $25,000 a month to like $8,000 a month within the span of 30 days or so. But after about 5 months of really getting things back together, picking up the pieces, we are now back in the game. And over the past 6 months, I've grown the detailing business back up to its former glory, $25,000 a month. We're looking at doing $40,000 next month, which is July of 2024 as of the time of recording this video. So the second van that I had put in storage over the winter is now back out. I've got a whole team that is helping me run the business now, and I've got some really solid people in place. In addition to that, the content has taken off. Now I'm getting hundreds of thousands of views per video, and I'm able to make a few $1,000s a month online as well. As a result of it, I've got a private mentorship community and network of other successful detailers from all around the country. We just hosted our first in-person mastermind event called the Driven Elite. We booked out a lake house mansion here in Austin, Texas, where I live, and did a whole weekend there, connected with the guys one-on-one, had a private chef come out, drove some really cool cars, had a blast, and just really built that sense of community that I needed all along since I started. So that's where we're at today, and I wanted to share this with you because I've had a lot of new followers come in. My success on YouTube has been growing lately, and I knew that I had to just lay out the whole story on the table for you from start to finish. And like I said at the beginning, I'm not a millionaire yet, but I'm certainly on my way up. And now I'm able to go on some really awesome trips. I'm able to pay for vacations for my family. I'm able to meet some really awesome people through my network, through the Driven Elite. We're doing some really incredible things, and the detailing business is growing bigger than ever. Like I said, we're looking at doing about $40,000 next month, and we're just going to keep climbing the ranks there to become the largest detailing company in the Austin, Texas area as the city grows. So wanted to say hello, let you know who I am, and I hope that this video inspired you for your journey. And let me tell you one last thing before I leave you. Don't let anyone discount blue collar work. There is such a shortage of hard skills and people putting real businesses in the real world right now that there are hundreds of thousands of dollars that are left on the table for average guys like you and me to make a lot of money over the next few years. So if you've struggled to think of what business to start and this video somehow popped up on your feed because I did a good job of clickbaiting it, mobile detailing is an incredible business model because it's a real skill and you can charge $500 every single car that you work on. So I hope this video inspired you. We'll see you in the next one.